I have a confession to make. As I was growing up in school, I became a fauxchiever. You might have been one too. Did you ever just go through the motions without mastering the material? Well, let's be clear about what that really means. This is how Hollywood portrays at-risk students. The attitude is, you can teach me, but you can't make me learn. Of course, this is the posture of the outcasts and the oppressed. It's for people on the margins. Fauxcheivement is the mental version of this posture. It is the internal attitude of, while you can make me jump through academic hoops, this BS is stupid, irrelevant, or just plain boring, and there's nothing you can do to change my mind about that. A student in fauxchievement mode may have the outward posture of obedience, but they're actually tuned out. The light is on, but nobody's home. Same attitude, different expression. The truth is that most successful students, like I was growing up, ignore much of what is taught, retain only what is necessary to pass the test or get the grade, and occasionally we learn bits that we find interesting. This mental form of disengagement is invisible to the system because the system assumes that we're all just data processing robots. When a robot is programmed to process information, then the definitive proof of success is the production of processed data. But it turns out that for human beings, truly productive learning is a process of growing mental maps. So there are two levels of activity that go on in proper education, both mapping and growing. The currently dominant method of managing and overseeing schools only pay attention to the production of academic data, which is easily mapped without significant growth. As long as we continue to make education policy based on the assumption that human education can be reduced to academic data processing, then we will continue to perpetuate the dehumanization of students and teachers. The system will continue to behave as if anyone who cannot jump through arbitrary academic data processing hoops is less than fully human. And then the system will produce evidence that proves that those people are stupid, lazy, or otherwise deserving of marginal status. That persistent dehumanization within a self-perpetuating system of circular logic leads to the final step in the disengagement process for those who are on the margins, dropping out. The Carnegie Foundation issued a report in 2015 that reiterated previous research by pointing out that the more years children spend in public and private mainstream schools, the more disengaged they become. Fauxcheivement is the most widespread and unappreciated form of disengagement. Howard Gardner of Harvard University pointed out that 50 to 80% of all the people with the highest degrees cannot solve problems that only require application of the most basic principles in their field of specialty, when those problems are presented in ways that are not on tests. Fauxcheivement is the dominant strategy of those who are supposed to get the most benefit from the system. Thus, the system cheats them out of a proper education. Disengagement, as demonstrated by dropouts, failures, and fauxchievers, is the central problem in education. So the solution is obvious: engagement. But if engagement is just obediently doing what we are told, but with more enthusiasm, which is what no excuses schools are doing, then the dynamics of fauxcheivement will continue, and that is not a true solution. The real question is, how do we help children engage in a relationship with their world so deeply that they grow as a human being in the process? The challenge is making sure that schools are joyful places of engagement with the world, where enthusiastic students see how awesome academics are as a tool for engaging with the world. In a place like that, they will seek out passionate teachers who can help them on their journey of discovering ever more about the awesomeness of those tools and the world they reveal. And it turns out, scientists have confirmed we already know how to do this. It starts with supporting children to meet their primary human needs. Not just the familiar needs for air, water, food, shelter, and sleep, but just as importantly, their needs for relatedness, competence, and autonomy. When you put all 8 of those primary needs together, you get the basics of nurturing. And nurturing is the foundation of learning. It is only on a solid foundation of nurturing that any good pedagogy can build. And better yet, there are some non-mainstream school models that have peer-reviewed scientific evidence that they solve or prevent the disengagement problem. I conducted one of those studies. My name is Don Berg. And after completing that study, I founded Schools of Conscience to build the nurturing capacity of K-12 schools. Our inaugural campaign is to get schools to pass a resolution called Nurturing is the Foundation to formally acknowledge the role that primary human needs support plays in learning. The next step is to help the schools that pass the resolution to understand the growing mental maps model of learning. Once they have that basic understanding, they can apply the nurturing principles from the model to building on the strengths that their learning community already brings to that foundation, and develop innovative strategies for overcoming whatever challenges stand in the way of becoming a truly joyful place. In order to ensure that school management and oversight are based on data that is respectful of all the humans involved, we want to build an accreditation model based on measures of well-being and support for primary needs. Finally, we will champion the passage of new public policies that also formally acknowledge the role that nurturing plays in learning. Those public policies will be crucial to protecting the nurturing protocols each school comes up with and ensuring that every single child has an equal opportunity to participate in a joyful school where their enthusiasm is skillfully cultivated by passionate teachers. Schools where the light is on in every child's eyes, and they are at home. Whenever they participate, they do it because they have complete confidence that no matter how big or small, no matter how weird or wonderful their contribution is, it is valued. If you agree that supporting children's primary human needs is crucial to education, then please act now by first endorsing the resolution on my website, schoolsofconscience.org. Second, sign up for the newsletter so that we can keep you up to date on the campaign. And finally, if you truly value this work, consider membership. Thanks for your time.